Right now at WARC, we're bringing together the latest evidence and expertise on marketing in the COVID-19 recession. We've just published a great new piece by Remona Duquesne, Managing Partner for Southeast Asia at the brandgym. Remona talks about how marketers can start to prepare for the months ahead, and in particular, how to start thinking across a portfolio of brands. I'm delighted to say Remona is with us today. Remona, thank you for joining us. I'd like to start with a question about a comment you make in your piece about this being both a demand side and a supply side shock. I wonder if you could explain what that means and why it's important.
Sure. Thanks, David. Hello to you too. Yes, I'll start by explaining what each of them means. So in the context of recession, a demand shock happens when there is sudden decrease in the demand for goods and services. And this is what happened in the 2008 recession. A supply shock, on the other hand, is an unexpected change in the supply of products or services. And this often results in an unforeseen change in price as people benefit less from economies of scale. Supply shocks happen when critical supply chain components break down, like during a geopolitical event. For example, in the 70s, if you remember that far back, there was an embargo on oil to America and other Western nations, which resulted in a significant drop in the supply of oil and therefore a significant price hike for the consumer. Supply chains also break down due to natural disasters or pandemics like the SARS outbreak in 2003. Now, in the case today of COVID-19, it's the efforts to contain the virus which are severely disrupting supply chains. So that's demand versus supply shock. Why is knowing this relevant in today's context, in today's situation? So the thing is, in the last recession, 2008, it was only a demand shock. This recession has both demand and supply shock. You're getting squeezed from both ends, essentially. And that means what brands and businesses did to climb out of the last recession may not be as effective this time around. We've gotten a lot more used to addressing demand shocks too, where very generally speaking, it's really about finding ways to increase appeal, relevancy, etc. of your product or brand. And that's not the case in a COVID-19 induced downturn. So I'll give you an example. In a demand shock only situation, you may be able to provide a temporary price cut or a nice promotion to appeal to your customer. But with demand and supply compromised, you probably won't be able to do that because your supply chain is affected. In fact, you're lucky if you can even get your supply onto the shelves. And that's happened to a lot of brands already. Take a look around when you're in the supermarket next and you'll realize how there are much fewer brands on shelves. So what happens in the case that your brand can't make it to the shelves? You risk losing your usual customer to another brand. And it's happened to me. I can't find my usual pasta sauce, so I've started buying another one. And there's no guarantee either that I'll go back to my previous brand once things get back to normal. So what can you as a brand do to still retain someone like me as a customer? And if you're not available on shelf, how else can you get to customers like me? So that's when things like e-commerce come into place, getting online if you're not already. But what all of this actually means is to survive and thrive in a COVID-19 induced downturn, brands need to explore strategies and tactics that address not just demand, but supply disruption as well. So you'll probably need to work 10 times as hard to be appealing, to show added value, and to stand out. You'll probably need to relook at both your distribution and communication channels. You'll probably need to revisit your brand portfolio to see what you keep and what you kill. And you may even need to reinvent your core business.
Great, thanks, Remona. I mean, you talk in the article about growing the core and killing dwarf products as being one thing to look at if you have a portfolio of brands. Could you just explain what that means?
Okay, let's start with what I mean by core business, by brand's core business. It's the part of the business that is both the most profitable and the one where the brand has the most authority and credibility. So, for example, Dove, everybody knows Dove. It's successfully stretched into hair care or deodorant, but it is the original cleansing bar that still accounts for the majority of the brand's sales and even more so its profit. Its authority and credibility in skincare is the reason it became famous in the first place, also gives permission for its hair care, deodorant, and other extensions to exist. So the bar, therefore, is Dove's core business. Now, growing this core is the key to sustained success regardless of economic climate. And there's been a lot of research done on this, on the benefits of growing your core from Bain, from us at the Brand Gym. We wrote a book about it a few years back. We also conducted a piece of research in 2008 and 2009 with marketing and business leaders, what they were doing to ride the storm. And growing the core again emerged as the most effective technique, with most making it a part of their longer term plans, which you still see practiced today. So that's the sacred core, protect it. On the other end of the spectrum, you have what we call dwarf products. They're cute, they're small, they're fun, but they often distract attention from your core business, financially and resource-wise. Dwarves usually get created when you forget what made your core successful in the first place, and you don't leverage your brand equities and know-how, which can happen when there's years of acquisition, extension, innovation, experimentation, the good years. And we've had a few good years. Every brand has too many brands. Every company has too many brands. So in the end, dwarf products don't do much, if anything, for your brand building or for your business building. They're not cash builders. They're not business builders, image builders. So why have them? Some examples, in case you were wondering, of dwarf products include when Gerber, the baby food brand, decided to make single meals for adults. Pond's toothpaste. Pond's seen as a beauty brand, not hygiene brand. It just didn't go over very well with its audience. Samsonite outerwear, and that's just to name a few. The list is pretty long. And you'll be able to identify them when you do a proper audit of your brand portfolio, which I highly recommend you do soon. So the final thing to note, by growing your core and killing the dwarves, you are in essence focusing and streamlining your brand portfolio, which if done right, will help with cash flow. And cash flow, as we all know, is mission critical to survive a recession.
Thank you, Remona. Now, you're based in Singapore, so I wonder if you've seen any significant changes in consumer behavior in Singapore or other Asian markets, and whether there are any that you think will sort of outlast this recession.
A lot more online shopping. It was quite prevalent in Singapore already, but less so in other markets. And my network across those other Asian nations say the same thing. So a lot more online shopping. Companies with existing e-commerce presence will only get better because they are dealing with situations they haven't done before, so they'll emerge better. There's also many traditional small wet market grocers and hawkers who've gone online so that they can provide direct delivery and avoid the 30% fees of going through the likes of Grab and Deliveroo. So when there's more choice online, and you also have more consumers online, because those who weren't shopping online previously, like elders and seniors, now are. So yes, online shopping will certainly outlast the current disruption. Another one, which is more of an in real life situation, when I do my weekly grocery shopping, the thing I really look forward to now. I was at the supermarket and noticed people using the plastic wrap that you usually reserve for fruits and vegetables, for fresh fruits and vegetables, to wrap all the single non-fresh items in their cart. Will this last if the virus becomes a recurring seasonal thing? I don't think this behavior will change, which will probably affect packaging. If it is over soon and doesn't come back, then yes, the behavior will change. That's what I think, at least.
Great. Thank you, Remona. Now, don't forget, we have lots more on marketing during the COVID-19 recession on WARC. Just visit WARC.com and follow the link. We'll be back soon with more like this, so stay tuned.